Leather often has natural oils infused into it during the tanning process. Restoring these oils through periodic maintenance and application can do great things to help maintain the leather's strength, look, and durability. While leather conditioners vary in their composition, from pastes to creams to oils and more, here we'll suggest some quality oils for leather care. Let's look first at the factor of ingredients. We generally look for leather oils that have gentle, natural ingredients. The goal is to safely restore moisture to the fibers and not add harsh chemicals to it. Some popular oils have petroleum-based ingredients and synthetic chemical conditioners. More natural ones are usually recommended, especially when it comes to the fats, conditioners, and what goes into the leather, possibly forever. Next, we look for something that is pH balanced. And what this essentially means is that most substances have a pH, and the closer they are, the more gentle the reaction is going to be. The further away they are from one another, the more significant that reaction is going to be, which could lead to long-term damage for leather. It'll be slow and almost invisible, though over time become more apparent. So when these substances come into contact with one another, they're going to try to neutralize each other and come into a balance. That neutralization reaction can release salt and water, both of which can be damaging to leather. So if you have a conditioner that is a pH neutral 7 or close to the leather that you are conditioning, which is usually a 4.5 to 5, it can focus on its job without causing much more damage to an already dry piece of leather. The third element is that it should be gentle. The oil should be adding conditioning without causing damage, and without creating a sticky film, and without clogging the leather's pores, leaving it to breathe openly and nicely. Even very common formulations of popular mink oil or neatsfoot oil can actually be harsh on the leather long term. So we usually want to look for a specially formulated oil that is going to be gentle, pH balanced, and add to the leather without causing much potential long-term damage. So while some folks use oils they find at home, these can be too dense, properties that can degrade that leather fiber. In professional products, oils are usually formulated with the right mixture amounts and with the right carrier liquids to help them penetrate deeply and smoothly into the leather. Because when we're conditioning, we're actually looking for that moisture to get into the fibers. And so they usually use something called a carrier, which is oil or water, which can penetrate the fibers, and along with that carrier come the conditioners, fats, also oils, waxes, things like that. So the carrier helps that conditioner get into the fibers, and then if and when that carrier evaporates, like water may do, it leaves behind those conditioners in there, along with any moisture that is trapped. So while natural oils may have some ingredients similar to what you can find at home, for example, even neatsfoot oil has around 67% oleic acid. It's a fatty acid. Most common olive oils have around 75% of the same acid, oleic acid. So even these have a relatively similar formula, yet can be damaging to leather in different ways. So it really comes down to the mixture and how they're blended together, in what amounts and with what carriers, that makes them far more efficient and overall better for the leather than just putting something that we have at home right into it. And believe me, if it was that easy to just grab something from home and not need any other hassle, costs, or things like that, that would be much easier. Though when we're looking out for the long-term leather care, the right formulation can truly make a difference. So let's look at some great oils. Here we have Obenauf's leather oil. Obenauf's is a leather preservative and leather conditioner. It is made with natural oils and beeswax and helps resist water, salts, cracking, and scuffing while allowing the leather to breathe. It's primarily formulated for vegetable tanned and oil tan leathers. It seems there isn't anything too terrible in it. Key ingredients include 2 kinds of beeswax, antibacterial tree resin that is found in beeswax, propolis, refined plant oils, and refined animal oils. These are blended into a suspension formula, that's the carrier, that helps to slowly release the oils into the leather. Another good option is Otter Wax. Otter Wax is a leather oil made in the USA, suitable for many leather types. Some of the active ingredients include safflower oil and vitamin E oil, also known as tocopherol. Inactive ingredients include shea butter, lanolin, and orange oil. So we've talked a lot. Get to the action already. All right, let's do it. So we're going to see both of these up close, the before and the after, so you have an idea of how these leather oils may affect the project you've got. I'll put down our foil work surface to protect and then we'll start with the Obenaufs. I'll keep a leather sample up here. That'll be the original. And then we've got two more, one for each example, and we can compare the results. So put this down. We'll open up the Obenauf's oil. And we'll take a wool dauber. I believe it even comes with one. Just kind of dip it in. You can see we've got the oil on there. And then we'll go to our sample and we'll just apply it. Now with most additives to your leather, whether it's conditioning or cleaning, how much you put on, if you do it in layers or multiple passes, they're all going to be factors in the end result. So keep that in mind. You could also use something like a cotton rag if you'd like to, apply it that way. And you could also use something like a cosmetic sponge that could be used to apply it in different ways as well. So we've got that now. It's going to be air drying a little bit. We're going to cap back up our oil. So let's look at how it started. And then here's with the oil applied. Still very wet. It obviously will need time to dry. So you ask, what does it look like when it's dry? That's what really matters. And you are right. Here's how it looks. So this sample has been dry for over 24 hours. And so here we've got basically the three states. We have before it was applied, right after applying, and here's after it is dry. So if we focus on these two, we're going to notice that it does darken it a little bit, but it isn't hugely significant. And most leather will darken when it's conditioned. And here's how that oil looks. Next up, we have our Otter Wax. So we're going to have our original sample to compare it to. We'll come over here to our applications spot. We'll put down our new sample right here, and we'll check out Otter Wax. If we open it up, it's actually kind of a waxy, kind of paste-like material. So the oil is suspended a little differently in this versus the more oil consistency of the Obenaufs. So if we're looking here, we don't need our dauber for this. We can use something like a cotton cloth. And so what we'll do is we'll just put it on our hand like that. And then we'll take this, kind of rub around a little circle to kind of get that mixed in. And then we'll get a little bit here. Now, since this is more of a paste, it may take a few more applications to kind of get that on there. This is going to be a waterproofer as well, given that the waxes that are in it. So when you are looking for an oil, consider what characteristics it may add to your leather, and if that's something you want or not, and if the ingredients are something that you're okay putting in your leather or not. So we'll just do a little bit more. I'll try to get a nice good coverage on here. And just like we mentioned with the other one, how much you put on, how many layers, that's all going to vary. But for here, we're just going to keep it simple with one application. And then we'll cap up our container and put that down. So here, if we look at our samples, this is before application. This is right after applying. Definitely going to be darker, the instant it's applied. So let's check out how it looks after around 24 hours of drying. And there we go. So we've got our three samples here. We have our before applying, right after it's applied, and then after it has dried. So if we focus on these two, essentially the before and after, there may be a slight darkening of it, but it's not all that noticeable. And you are getting those performance characteristics added to it. And that's how it looks. So if you're looking for a leather oil, these are two excellent options. And there you have it. Until next time.